Its members claim the right to bear arms is at the very heart of freedom and democracy. Either way, the National Rifle Association is one of the most feared and powerful lobby groups in America. Now, one of its top shots, the recently elected President Robert Corbin, is in Australia to advise the Sporting Shooters Association on lobbying techniques. But according to Dr. Simon Chapman of the Coalition Against Guns, it's advice we can do without. Robert Corbin and Simon Chapman join us now. Gentlemen, thank you both for your time this evening.
You're welcome.
Mr. Corbin, your opponents see you as gun-toting rednecks. Do you have any people who fit that description amongst your members?
No, you know who some of our board of directors are? Susan Howard, who played in Dallas, she's on our board of directors. President Bush is a life member of the National Rifle Association. President Reagan was a life member of the National Rifle Association.
So all upright, upstanding citizens?
Yeah, they're from all walks of life.
Mm-hmm. Who do you hope to convince while you're in this country?
Nobody. I just came over here at the invitation of the Sports Shooting Association here. They came over and wanted to know how we operate. We're pretty powerful in the United States.
Would you like to see a reflection of U.S. gun laws in this country?
That would be up to the Australians. I'm not over here to try to tell you what to do or what not to do. That's not my place. I wouldn't appreciate your coming to the United States and doing it to us. But the point I'm trying to make is mankind, since they've been on this earth, have protected themselves, the right of self-defense. And there seems to be an effort today all over the free world to tell people you can't protect yourself anymore. For women to be raped, lay down and be raped. If you're going to be robbed, give them your money. Well, we don't believe that. We think that people have a right to defend themselves when their life, their family's life, or their friend's life are being threatened. And one of the ways of protecting yourself is with a gun.
All right. Well, Dr. Chapman, Mr. Corbin is the head of a legitimate lobby group in the United States. Why shouldn't we hear his message?
Let's be clear about Mr. Corbin. He comes across as a pretty nice fellow, very reasonable and so forth. But if you look at what the sort of policies Mr. Corbin's organisation are trying to get through the Congress in the United States, we're looking at things like cop killer bullets. These are bullets which will penetrate armour. We're talking about guns made of plastic which can get through airport security systems. We're talking about machine gun ownership for citizens. And we're talking at the end of the day about the mayhem that we know that goes on in the United States. They've got 14 times our population, 50 times the number of gun deaths, and 180 times the number of gun homicides. We really don't want that sort of situation. We don't want that sort of advice in Australia.
Let's run through a checklist. Your organisation does support the sale of new machine guns in the United States.
It's legal in the United States.
Okay, and you support it?
Sure, we support
it.
Because there hasn't been one abuse of over 230,000 people who've gotten a license to purchase an automatic weapon who have misused it. There may be one police officer who may have. BATF tells us they're not sure about
that. It's the availability of those guns which is the problem. We don't have machine guns in this country. But Mr. Corbin's organisation and the people who brought him out would like to see that sort of stuff happening here. They would like to see the community armed so that we can turn our homes into fortresses, that we can shoot back, take the role away from the police, and this sort of...
That's the typical liberal anti-gun philosophy from this doctor professor to be knowledgeable. What about the Brady Bill? You were told that the Brady Bill required a background check.
Can we just clarify that for one moment? You are not interested in seeing that happen in Australia. You're saying that you don't care what happens in Australia?
It's up to Australia to decide what you do yourselves. I'm not over here to tell Australia what to do. I read in the paper...
Mr. Corbin, we have 700 gun deaths a year in this country. That's 200 deaths more than the total number of deaths from AIDS. In your country, you have something like 30,000 deaths.
We have a lot of them. Washington, D.C. has an absolute ban on handguns, yet they're the highest
homicide
in the world.
Your laws are a joke because you can go across borders. What about Virginia, the state next door to Washington?
Well, what about Virginia? You tell me.
It's got the loosest gun laws. You can walk straight in.
And you know it's a federal felony to do that? It's a federal felony to go to New Jersey and bring a gun over to Washington, D.C.
I've been in the States. You can drive from one border to another not knowing that you're even crossing it.
Doctor, criminals are criminals. They don't obey any law.
Mr. Corbin, you're here as a guest of the Sporting Shooters Association. Do you bring with you a checkbook to help them out?
No, not at all.
You are certainly a head-kicking lobby group in the United States.
You bet we are.
Do you want to teach your colleagues here in Australia to kick heads as well?
What I'd like to teach them is how we go about doing things in the legislative area. We're well respected over there. You know, if we were such a bad organization, why would the President of the United States, the past two presidents, be life members of our organization?
The important word there is past, yesterday's men. I mean, in a world which is characterized by disarmament and peace movement and so forth, the main horses you can back are two people who are on the way out. Well, not on the way out, they've gone
Well, that's
out.
what you say, Doctor. Again, you don't know about American politics.
Mr. Corbin, let me ask you what may sound like a naive question, but what is the attraction of a gun to an individual shooter?
Well, we have sporting shoot. NRA supports the Olympics.
So there is the sporting interest.
There's a sporting.
What other attraction?
A lot of people like to go on target practice. We like to hunt with them. And as the doctor says, with our criminal justice system in the United States, that's the cause of everything. The criminal, nobody wants to face it. You've got to deal with a criminal. The law-abiding gun owner, you don't have to worry about it. It's a criminal.
Do you...
Self-protection. Self-protection is another main thing. And
self-protection is a nonsense. I mean,
why don't you go after the criminal who's misusing the guns and committing crimes with the gun?
It's
why
not
don't
an
you deal
either-or
with them?
situation.
Yes, it is.
Most of the people who commit murders and mayhem with guns have no criminal record, and you know that.
The free world stayed free because the people had guns. We became a country in the United States because the colonists had guns.
It's 1992.
Well, then, Doctor, let's do away with the First Amendment, freedom of the press, if that's what you want. Let's do away with this First Amendment, talk about freedom of religion in my country. You can't have it both ways.
Okay, gentlemen, we really will have to leave it there. I thank you both for your time.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.